Should we take a little romp through the royal relationships, good or bad, that are happening at the
absolutely.
moment? William and Catherine. We haven't seen them for a while, justifiably, because Catherine, obviously, recovering from cancer. How the last couple of months have been incredibly stressful for the Prince and Princess of Wales. They have a very strong couple. How do you think they will be coping right now?
I think what the Prince and Princess of Wales are doing right now is just concentrating on their family life. The children go back to school next week. We probably will see Kate driving them to school, possibly. I think that people are just waiting to see her again. But I think when you see William and Kate together, they have a great relationship. They're quite touchy-feely, but not over touchy-feely like Meghan and Harry are. They don't cling to each other, but occasionally they do. And they laugh again. I think it's laughter. They laugh together a lot. And I think that William is very, very supportive of his wife. And I know that Carol Middleton has said that to friends. He is so supportive of my daughter. And she's very sort of proud of him. So, it's that mutual support they have with each other.
Are you surprised that there was a YouGov poll, I think, this week, that despite all the furore around the Mother's Day photograph, that the Prince and Princess of Wales are still the two most popular members of the royal family? I mean, they're not without their crises. Remember, a couple of years ago, the Caribbean tour, which I was on, was an absolute PR disaster. They're not without their problems. What is it about their, you talk about them being warm and they are very, affectionate to each other in private and public. What is it about their relationship that really strikes a chord with the public?
I think it's the warmth between them and the warmth that they it's not fake, it's when they give out warmth. And of course, Kate is a photographer's dream. She's so beautiful. And William's a very good-looking young man. And I think that it's natural. It's not. You see, with Meghan, I feel she's got one expression, the big grin, and I feel that's all, and that doesn't feel natural. But with Kate and William, they've got all. It's just a warmth they have, and it sort of exudes to everybody around them, which is what the magic that Diana had. However nervous Diana was about meeting people or going out on her own, the minute she was out there, she exuded this warmth and friendliness, and that's what Kate and William do.
Now, a less functional or a more dysfunctional royal relationship is Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. Obviously, they married in the 80s, divorced, now living together and basically, supporting each other through thick and thin. Did you ever have much dealings personally with Andrew and Sarah?
I had a lot of dealings with Sarah because I wrote a book about her. And I knew Sarah before she became the Duchess of York. She's very loyal. She's extremely loyal to Andrew. And I do think she found, certainly in the early years of her marriage, she found this arrogance that he has, don't you know who I am? Entitlement. I think she found that very difficult. She loved him, but I think she found that side of it difficult because she's another warm, friendly person, probably too friendly sometimes. But she's remained very loyal. I feel, and I don't know this, that she must have talked to the Queen, and the Queen must have said, "Please look after Andrew for me." And I absolutely feel that, and that's what she's going to do. I don't think she'll leave him. I don't think they'll get married again. And I think she is, really trying to move on and make money and work in the area that she's interested in, which is film and television. She hasn't been hugely successful, but she's been pretty successful. She's made a lot of money out of her books. But she's really, we all look at her as the sort of money earner. But I think that's what she wants to do, and she can quite happily work from Royal Lodge. It's not a bad place to live. Probably rent-free. And the only thing you've got to do is look after her husband, her ex-husband. I mean, it's an interesting relationship.
It is. Do you think perhaps you mentioned about loyal? Would it be wrong for me to say that she's too loyal? After everything that's happened with Epstein and everything that's happened with
she's not going to walk out on him. Remember, he supported her when she was really in trouble over all the various scandals and things she's been involved in. He supported her, so it wouldn't look too good if she kind of walked out on him, and she wouldn't. She just wouldn't. I don't think she's too loyal. I think it's just a really lovely character trait.
Over the years, I've had quite a few tips from or people suggesting that they might remarry. Earlier, you would rule that out.
I can't see the point of them remarrying, unless it's for tax reasons. I mean, I really don't see the point. I think if something works the way it is, don't muck with it. I mean, maybe their daughters would like them to remarry. I don't know, but I think that probably Fergie is better off being her own person. She's still the Sarah, Duchess of York. She doesn't need the HRH. Everybody knows who she is. They either like her or they don't. And I don't see that there's anything that she would make life better for either of them if they got remarried.
So when you used to speak to her, how would she talk much about Andrew? Would she talk about what kind of guy he was? Or?
Yeah, she did. I mean, I used to know her very well. Yes, she did talk about him. I think, well, of course, he hasn't got into all this trouble then. I think she's very protective of him now because, you know, he needs protecting. But I think she always says, I don't want to talk about that. And quite rightly so. What can she say? She can only make it worse by stirring things up. I think she's absolutely right to keep her mouth shut about it.
Fine. Now, one couple that doesn't get talked about as much as the others we've discussed today, and we had some comments on YouTube last week saying, well, Edward and Sophie, Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, are a very successful partnership. It's 25 years this year they'll be celebrating their anniversary. Why is that marriage succeeded whereas others have ended in divorce? What is it about Edward and Sophie and their relationship? Because they're popular, but we don't see them very much.
Well, I think they've become more popular recently because we've seen much more of them. Sophie was always, you know, a wonderful photograph, beautiful, lovely face and, you know, doing worthy things. And she's given quite a lot of interviews and she seems such a very special lady. And I met her when she first appeared on the scene and she was always incredibly friendly. It was difficult for her. Because, you know, there are a lot of people saying, well, you know, she's very ordinary. Her father's a car salesman, which wasn't true. And her mother takes in typing or something. It was quite cruel. But it wasn't true. Her father's a lovely, lovely person. And I just think that they've kind of worked it through. And Sophie's so nice about Edward. She said some lovely things the other day about him. And they have their own lives, but they come together. I mean, I know they're both very busy, but they always try and have one of them at home when the other one is travelling.